Hi, it's Dr. Greg Jantz. I know the New Year's around the corner and we're supposed to have goals or something called New Year's resolutions. Do they really work, or should we do this? Or how many of you really kept your New Year's resolutions? How many remember the ones you had last year? Okay, we're going to talk about it next here on Hope and Possibility.
Dr. Gregory Jantz is a best-selling author of over 45 books and the founder of the Center A Place of Hope, voted a top 10 center for depression treatment in the U.S. As the pioneer of whole-person care, Dr. Jantz is known as the messenger of hope. Now the nation's expert on anxiety, depression, substance abuse, relationships, trauma, and PTSD, here is Dr. Gregory Jantz.
Hi, Dr. Greg Jantz. Yes, New Year's resolutions. Hey, I have just a few thoughts because it's something that I have faced personally, well, every year for a while. We do something called family goals. Yes, we've done this since our kids. I have two sons, and let's see, one is 23 right now, one is 21, and I think we started doing some goals every year. I believe age 5, 6 is when it first started. We'd always have a family meeting, and we do 4 family meetings a year, but when they were younger, have a family meeting, start talking about goals, and having them write down. Yeah, if you can ink it, if you can think it, ink it, and then do it. It was kind of the philosophy. And I have saved these goals, and we still do it, even though that they're grown and one is married. We still get together as a family, and we still do family goals. But I think I'd rename it. I think I would look at this differently. Here's why. Most of us cannot even remember a resolution that we had necessarily. The average number of goals people make at the beginning of the year are resolutions, about 8 to 10. It's always on top of the list. I checked this out again. There is the weight loss and make more money. Yep. It's at the top of the list every year. If we were doing well, we probably wouldn't have weight loss and make more money at the top of the list every year, because it probably is a sign we haven't done it. Okay, so what trips us up? Call them resolutions, call them goals, whatever you want to call it, but what really trips us up that stops us from really being our best? I mean, you can have the best intention, absolutely best intention, and you can be very serious and write these things down, stare at it every day, put the note on your refrigerator over and over and over. I'm going to do this. But what happens? What happens when it doesn't work? And you go, this year is going to be different. This year is different. I'm going to do it this year. Right? Okay. So what's the emotion? Because it's going to go back to something inside us. What's the emotion that trips us up, that causes us to, either not start, or start and not finish, or give up right before the end of accomplishing the goal? What is it? I have a couple thoughts, because I've seen this pattern over and over and over. There is a lot of anxiety around goal setting, and there is a lot of repetitive thinking. What if I don't do this? It doesn't really matter if I write it down. I remember working with my younger son, and he was really vague. This was not that long ago. It was really vague. Have more friends, etc. And I go, can you define? Because we always like to do goals that are well defined, have a time limit, and what are those you can do on your own and those that need outside support or help? He goes, no, I'm fine doing it on my own, and I don't want to be specific in case I don't reach my goals. Preliminary thinking about goal setting or resolution, which is a determination I'm going to do something, Preliminary thinking can set us up before we even start. What do I really believe? What do I really believe? That's a big one. I'm writing this down, but do I really believe I'm going to do it? Strong intention's good, but what's my core beliefs? Some have a core belief that evolves around shame. I'm really not good enough. I'm really not all that lovable. I don't really deserve to be or have the things I would like to have. I don't deserve to have the kind of relationship that I really want to have. Because of shame. Shame is that defective sense of self that something is terribly wrong with me and it's just part of who I am. I'm not going to get any better. That's a core belief. Examine those core beliefs. Now, also, I have to be careful about what am I carrying into the new year that's really excess baggage. Am I carrying past hurts? Am I carrying resentments? Am I carrying a lot of hurt and anger and pain from this year? And I'm just going to carry it into the new year. Nothing is really resolved. Nothing is resolved in my marriage. Nothing's resolved in who or what I really want to do with my life. Nothing's resolved. So I carry it forward. Be careful about the things you carry forward. Carrying forward resentment poisons all your present day relationships. Carrying forward an embittered person blocks trust, blocks intimacy, and it blocks goals. We don't always realize that there's core beliefs, there's core issues, that core issues can stop us from personal growth. The core issue of not believing you're worthy, shame, will stop you short of, I'm going to say, really everything God intended you to be, who you are. A belief that in some way I'm defective freezes personal growth. So we've got to look at that. Some things from the last year I don't want to carry. Toxic emotions. List them. Make a note of it. Take a look at it. Is there toxic emotions? Anger, fear, guilt, shame. Then I'm going to carry forward. It'll rob me of my goals. Number 2, addiction. Addiction of any kind robs intimacy. Now, addiction can cover a lot of things. We might think about alcohol, drugs, misuse and addictive tendencies towards prescription drugs, pornography, food. There's a lot of things, social media perhaps, a lot of things that can fit into this whole area of addiction. It's a hard one to look at because we want to deny it. We really don't want to look at addiction issues. It'll stop you from achieving your goals. Addictions. It's a big one and a powerful one. Can you set goals, whatever you want, goals, resolutions? Can you set these and not be a victim of all the cultural noise? Cultural noise, political noise, all the chatter, all the gloom and doom. Have you taken all that doomsday? Have you taken it on as your personal identity? Pull it back. Have a boundary between things that, and granted, some things I don't like, things that are going on, things that I believe are unfair and unjust, etc. But if I adopt that as a part of who I am, I probably will not be growing. or moving forward. So I've got to look at, how am I keeping the whole person healthy? By the way, we need each other. There's so much division. 61%, you probably have heard this, but the Harvard study was shocking in a way. 61% of Americans feel like they're lonely. They score 61%. That's over half. Loneliness, disconnection from others can be quite painful. Besides loneliness, about half of those folks said, I can't even name one close personal friend. I can't even name one. Wow. Pause and think about that. Do I have 3 to 5 people in my life that are close to me, that are my intimates, that are trustworthy, that believe in me? Take a look at that. Create, maybe that's a goal for the new year, 3 to 5 individuals in my life that are powerful influences, that believe in me and I have a trusting relationship with. It's all going to come back to relationships. I told my wife not long ago, I go, boils down to it. We lose everything. What we're going to have is the quality of our relationships. Wow. The quality of our relationships. All right. So, put all the cultural noise to the side. I don't mean we don't attend to things that we can help in a positive way. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying don't stand up for your values. I think you do. I think there's times that we're in for a good fight, and we are in to stand up for what's right. That said, we cannot be in a place where we're so obsessed that we lose our personal value, personal sense of self. We endanger our relationships because of political divide or a culture that's counseling. No. Be who we are and be strong in who you are. Okay. So, this new year, how are we going to focus on our health? Not physical health only, but mental health. It's been said we're in a mental health crisis, and probably we're in a mental health epidemic, if not a pandemic. There's so many people suffering. Anxiety, the number one diagnosis, and depression and addiction. Those 3 are the top. Anxiety, depression, and addiction. We have got to address those issues. Because if we're struggling with too much anxiety, too much depression, and have any level of addiction, we're not going to be freedom to be who we really can be. I like to say who God designed me to be. That's my personal belief. Okay, now, what about a 30-day plan? Really? What about the next 30 days? What are the 2 things you need to work on as it relates to mental health? Do I need to limit the amount of negativity that I'm allowing to come in? Do I need to limit my social media? I wrote a book called Social Media, Depression and Social Media. It's very interesting what happens there. Do I need to have a plan where I am having some quiet time, renewing my mind, putting in the right messages? Okay, what about the 30-day plan? I like these 30-day plans because once I get it down for a month, then I can keep going. Then I'm going to tell myself, okay, 90 days. It's like weight loss. Okay, it's not just about the weight or the scale. What other things am I doing that are going to contribute to? They're going to contribute to my well-being. That's going to contribute to my weight loss. It's a whole person puzzle. Long ago, I wrote a book called The Spiritual Path to Weight Loss. And we began to look at folks who had lost weight permanently over 10 years. It was about 2%. Most of them came back and said, well, you know, my faith or development of faith was a key part that kept me going. Really? For 10 years, to be successful in losing weight, keeping it off, they're saying faith? Isn't that interesting? We've got to address the whole person. All right. Looking here at my notes, have your activity plan. Build a plan, execute it daily, but it's progress, not perfection. We have a saying here at the Center Place of Hope, making progress every day. Sometimes it seems like a little bit. Other times you feel like more. You're making more, but every day we're going to make progress. That's how I do a book, by the way. Absolutely. Every day for approximately an hour, I'm doing something related to a book or a future title or something that's related to publishing every day. Well, generally 5 days a week. Making progress every day. It's powerful. You can create a whole book in a year. Making progress every day. What do I need to resolve in my life? That's the question. Under the emotional department, what do I need to resolve? Anger, hurt, fear, anxiety, depression, addiction, faulty core beliefs. So that I can move on, I got to resolve. Once I resolve, then I can renew. I can renew my thinking. I can renew my life plan, and my relationships get renewed. I keep myself in a renewing state. All right. Be flexible. Any kind of goals or New Year desires, be flexible. What's that look like? Making progress every day. And here's what's important. Share it. Have somebody that you're working with. Have a mentor. But you're going to create new patterns. Don't wait for motivation. Motivation doesn't just show up. Motivation always comes after we start. So here we go. That's what's true about a book. I may think I have a great idea. Publisher says, yeah, let's do that. Okay. Well, I may not be over the top motivated to start with, even though it's a great idea. But once I get in the groove, making progress every day, it adds, and momentum adds. It's exciting. All right. Who do you need to be influencing you in the new year? Sometimes it's not family. Sometimes a family influence can hold us back. Sometimes you may have family that you go, I don't really aspire to be like my family. And so you need to have different role models. And so the role of a mentor, the role of a counselor to help you resolve some issues that need to be resolved, the role of a positive mentor, a coach, somebody that can say this, I believe in you, and they really mean it. I believe in you was spoken over me. It changed the entire course of my life. From an individual when I was becoming a senior in high school who spoke a powerful word over me and said, Greg, I believe in you. And he had me do a few things that proved he did, and I was successful. Changed my whole academic career, changed the trajectory of my life. Have somebody that sincerely believes in you. And this could be somebody that maybe you haven't met them yet. Maybe one of the goals in the new year is to bring these relationships into your life. I pray about those things. Keep your dreams alive. Keep the hope alive. Hope comes when we have a plan. Make progress every day. Keep a plan that's flexible. Deal with core issues and core beliefs. And change the course, personally, of this new year. I know, personally, it can be done. There's hope. And there is a plan. And we can do this. And sometimes it requires outside help. Other times it requires time that you're going to allow yourself to renew, rebuild, restore, remove any old blocks from the past. That's right. Because with God's help, we can recreate a different future that is good. There's a verse from the Old Testament that's on the entrance to our building. It's Jeremiah 29:11. Simply says that you have a future and a hope. And the future and the hope comes that there's good plans. Sometimes we need help discovering those, and sometimes we need help kind of constructing some of those plans. We can do that. We can build a different future. Let's do it. And let's look back at the end of the new year and go, I am so glad that I did this.